The NFL draft's less than a week away. I just wrapped up my final prospect ranking, so let's check out the top 200 big board. Drum roll, please. Number 200 is Tyrese Knight, linebacker out of UTEP. Just a really good downhill player. And then at 199, we're going to the U, baby, the U. It's my Hurricane center, Matthew Lee. Good for like more of the outside wide zone blocking schemes we're seeing more in the NFL. And then 198, we got Isaiah Davis out of South Dakota State. Nice bruising back. Got Anuzium, the corner out of Colorado State. This kind of like begins, like he's my 25th ranked outside corner. And I love the top 25 corners in this class. I legitimately do. And this is kind of where this begins or ends, however you're kind of viewing it. Good size, really good speed. Bub Means, the nice big boy wide receiver out of Pittsburgh with nice long field speed. What did he end up running? He's gonna lay a 4.43 at 227 pounds. Golly, that's absolutely ridiculous. Just ridiculous. 195, I have Oklahoma tackle Walter Roos. At 194, Layden Robinson, guard out of Texas A&M. Nice strong body, man. A guy that, man, going into the 2022 college football season, I was like, man, I think this guy could be maybe a top interior player, and just the play hasn't really elevated, unfortunately, since. Javon Solomon coming at 193 might surprise some people. I'm just not a fan of the height. Like, good length at that size, but I feel like he's kind of limited in some regards. And there's just a couple of edge players I like a little bit more. Jamal Hayden out of Tennessee. Nice press corner there. Very feisty. I think he just didn't test out like hugely. Let me confirm. Yeah, ran a 4.59. The agility drills weren't all that great. Fortunately, he was like injured this year. He like separated his shoulder, laying a lick on the quarterback at the sideline. So didn't play the whole season, but there's a good football player there. Jalen Simpson, I got a 191. I'm just not the biggest fan of Jalen Simpson. I kind of struggle in trying to figure out what he's going to do at the next level. Like, he could be like a off coverage corner or maybe a deep safety, but I think he's just a total liability in the box with his size and play strength. At 190, Dwight McLaughlin, someone I was very high on coming into the season. McLovin over here, but yeah, just not an explosive player. It's got length, but I feel like he's probably gonna have to be like primarily a press corner in the NFL. You do kind of worry about that burst with him. Then KT Leviston, the played tackle at Kansas State, but he's going to be probably a guard at the NFL. I actually like him quite a bit. I feel like he gets slept on in this class. I never see him too high. It's kind of wild, but scroll up quite a bit and go through some of these guys. We got, let me get the pronunciation out. Let me get the pronunciation out for this guard out of Utah, as it is Sataya Lamea. There we go. I think he played, he was playing right tackle this past season. Pretty solid. Like, this is a good offensive, like, in particular, a very good offensive interior class. Like, it's very, very deep. I got JD Bertrand at a Notre Dame at 187. Just a good linebacker, limited athletically. And right ahead of him, I have Bookie Watson, the linebacker at Mississippi State. I think this guy just flies around the line of scrimmage. Very good downhill player, knows how to find the ball carrier. Just kind of question what he could do in coverage. And to be fair, here at 185, I have Jalen Carlisle, who I think might be a linebacker. I mean, 6'3", 227. Just got to put on a few more pounds, and he actually tested out pretty well, as coming in with 34-inch arms, ran a 4.45, 22 reps in the bench. Golly, like, yeah, I honestly think he's a linebacker. That's kind of why I have him with these two guys. 184, Tanner McLaughlin, former wide receiver turned tight end. don't expect much inline work. He's really a receiving tight end. And then I have the guard out of Michigan, Trent Jones, here at 183. I actually like him quite a bit because I think he's got some versatility to him. He was essentially like the 6th offensive lineman there for Michigan, but I think he might have a bit better upside than some of the other guys along that offensive line. For instance, let's say like Ladarius Henderson, Carson Barnhart. I think Trevor Keegan's actually pretty close to him. Keegan, spoiler, just missed my top 200, but he was very close. Cornelius Johnson, just a good, solid possession receiver. I don't know if he's much more than a wide receiver 3 or 4 in the NFL, but like a guy that can block well, very sure hands. I'm game for that. 181, Gabriel Murphy. I'm just not a fan. I know some people have this cat really way up there, but man, I really feel like he's going to be an off-ball linebacker in the NFL that's just going to be used as a blitzer quite a bit, just because he's so limited, man. 6'2", 247, and then 30.5-inch arms. Ugh. But like the explosiveness, the movement skills are pretty solid. Like just become an off-ball linebacker. 180, Fabian Lovett. Good build, very good run defender with minimal pass rush and upside, but there's not a lot of guys in this class that have like that are plus 310 on the defensive interior and that are his level of run defender, but also like athlete. Like he tested out like pretty solid. Like the explosive scores were nothing special, but the agility skills were solid. The length is insane, 35.5-inch arms. That's just nuts. And then Shaw Smith-Wade at 179. He's just a scrappy slot corner to me. Delmar Glaze, I think he probably ends up being a guard in the NFL out of Maryland, coming in at 6'4", 315. But I don't want to say, I'm not going to say tackle's out of the question for him, but I think more teams will probably look at him like he's a guard. At 177, Sione Vaki. Is he a safety? Is he a running back? Is he a slot receiver? I don't know. But I'm willing to take a shot on that in like the mid-day 3 area. Nia Smith at 176 here. Receiver out of Texas A&M. Honestly, you can line this guy up anywhere on the field. In the backfield, slot, he brings return capabilities. We really like that. There's just been some inconsistencies with his game the last couple of years, like in terms of like ball skills and whatnot. What was his drop rate this year, actually? Bet you he improved it. Now that I said it, I bet you he improved. Yeah, the drop rate was really good. Actually, so was the contested catch number. But I know the year before, he was around that 10%. We got Jaheim Bell, tight end out of Florida State at 175. Again, just kind of a tweener type, so kind of gets pushed down the board a little bit. Rasheen Ali, 174, probably be higher on my list if not for the bicep injury he had at the Senior Bowl, which kind of like took him out of the offseason draft process. So you are going to have to rely heavily on what you saw on tape. And unfortunately, man, this guy has a terrible fumbling problem, which is probably the bigger reason why he's a little bit lower on my list. Keep scrolling up as 170. 173 here. I got Kidin Oladapo, nice big-bodied box safety out of Oregon State. 172, Javon Foster, tackle out of Mizzou. I think he could probably be a solid backup tackle in the NFL. At 171, I got Jacob Monk out of Duke. Some people are going to see him as a center. I honestly think he's a better guard than center. But golly, he tested exceptionally well. You go back to the tape and like I truly believe his reps at center last season were much better than his reps at guard. Truly do. Right ahead of him, right ahead of him, I have Brian Hudson out of Louisville, the center. You worry about the play strength with him, but at the Hula Bowl, he was able to scrap and do it well. But we have seen those losses on tape. He had a rough game against like a Braden Fisk. But like the movement skills are really good. He's got a track background. I I think there's some tools there when it comes to Hudson, and I'm just generally higher on him than the general consensus. Gabe Hall out of Baylor, coming in at 6'6", 291. Golly, dude, he was a monster day one of the Senior Bowl. He's got the athleticism for the position. Just don't know if he's a guy you could keep on the field for 3 downs. At 168, Taj Washington, just a very, very slick route runner. At his size, you're gonna be looking at him like, are you you're probably just like a slot player, but still very good route runner. At 167, I have MJ Devonshire. Absolutely love this cat, really do. I was surprised by the length that he ended up getting measured out at, as he ended up having close to 33-inch arms. He tested extremely well. I like him quite a bit. I mean, and also just ahead of him is DJ James. A lot of people have this guy in day 2, and I don't buy into the size. 5'11", 181, getting up to 181 was shocking for me, because I think this was a cat that played around 170, and it's just, the tape is good, but at that size, I think I'm more willing to let someone else bet on you ultimately. But I mean, these are 2 very good corners here. It's a good corner class, guys. It's a good corner class. Kamani Vidal out of Troy, the running back, coming in at 165. Just love this cat. Love this cat. He can do every phase of the game in terms of the running back position. He can pass block. He can be a pass catcher. He's a good runner of the football in general. At 163 and 164, I have a couple of guys who have impressive size and that are impressive athletes. I got Ryan Watts, who out of Texas played corner the last 2 years, formerly of Ohio State, by the way, so very highly sought out recruit. And just insane length, and just that body type tells me, okay, you're probably a safety in the NFL, and he tests out relatively well. Didn't test out nearly as well as Tyler Owens, who also in his own right was a highly regarded recruit. He was a former 5-star, went to Texas, ended up going to Texas Tech a little later down the line, and you see that athleticism on tape. It's just, I don't think he's got a good feel for the position. 162, Maris Luafau out of Notre Dame, the other linebacker. I like his measurements. Testing was kind of odd because to me it didn't match the tape, but you still just kind of want to buy into the tape. But I still feel like the cerebral part of the game just isn't there. You're working with some traits when it comes to him. All right, let's scroll this sucker down as, here we go. We're going to go over Nelson Caesar, edge out of Houston, coming in at 161. He's pretty solid, but to me, really nothing special. Gonna worry about his anchor sometimes. Mac Enclaves. Some people have him as tackle. Some people have him as guard at 6'6". I kind of worry about that size at guard, but it's not for me, it's not it's not a big issue. It's hey, man, there's 6'6" guys that could cut it at guard. But unfortunately, got kind of couldn't really partake in the process this year because of what was his injury? He had a season-ending toe injury, and I only got numbers I only got bench and vert numbers for him. So I really wish we got to see him test. All right, ahead of him, Christian Boyd out of Northern Iowa, defensive tackle. I just talked about him in yesterday's video when I talked about the top small school prospects, so go ahead, check that sucker out. And one spot ahead of him is McKinley Jackson out of Texas A&M, another big body. Again, there's not a lot of big body defensive tackles in this class. He's one of them. And man, you just see the motor and the urgency this guy plays with on tape. We got Jamari Thrash at 170 or 157, excuse me. A guy with vertical capabilities that could also make you miss as a ball carrier. Tip Ryman, tight end out of Illinois, rare size and speed combination, and just didn't have a lot of production at Illinois. And if you go watch tape, that's kind of on Illinois, man. You would watch like 3rd and longs and they have him blocking. Like, what? Got Dylan Lobby, running back out of New Hampshire. Talked about him yesterday as well in that small school video, so go ahead and check that sucker out. Curtis Jacobs out of Penn State. Linebacker, tested really well at 6'1", 241. And I mean, that's just linebacker size you don't often see. You don't see these guys hitting like 240 plus, but he did, and he tested really well. 4'5", 840. 129 inches in the broad, 35 inches in the vert. The agility scores were fine. Yeah, kind of like him. Miles Harden, corner out of South Dakota State, was another guy I talked about in that small school video. And then I got Bucky Irvin. Oh, breaks my heart. Bucky Irvin here at 152, running back out of Oregon. Just not a great combine. At his size, you kind of need to be a really good athlete. Just typically fine athletes that's at 5'9", 180, 195. Just fine athletes don't translate. Like, you might point to like a Kyron Williams, but like his vision was elite. And I like Bucky Irvin. I just don't think he's got that elite vision. And if you're curious about his testing times, ran a 4.55. The explosive scores weren't good. 31.5 inches in the vert, 115 inches in the broad. At 151, I got Jaquan Jackson, the probably slot receiver at that size, 5'9", 188, out of Tulane. I just love this guy's movement skills. He's so sudden. He's so quick. I think there's a lot of potential there with him. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals, and guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. At 150, I have linebacker Tommy Eichenberg out of Ohio State, and actually just a spot ahead of him, I have Jalen Ford out of Texas. Good size for linebackers, just athletically, they leave you wanting a little bit more. And then at 148, I have Quintez Stiggers. Absolutely love this cat. Had an amazing Shrine Bowl week. If you're unfamiliar, played in the CFL last year, was their rookie of the year. So yeah, be on the look for him. Malik Mustafa, safety out of Wake Forest, coming off a bomb pro day. Just freaking amazing. At 146, Caden Wallace out of Penn State. Might end up being a guard. Be on the look for that, but could be a high-end backup at tackle. 145, Jacob Cowan out of Arizona. Listen, he's small, 5'8", 168, and I was kind of hoping he would have like a Tank Dell-esque Senior Bowl. He did not, but go check the tape, man. The guy puts on good tape. 144, Dominique Hampton, safety out of Washington. Big fan of him. I just love how he plays around the line of scrimmage. Like, ideally, this is a guy that you want in the slot and in the box. Xavier Thomas coming in at 143, edge out of Clemson. Just kind of lacks ideal size and length for the position. We're going to go look at that. 6'2", 253 is not bad, but just under 33-inch arm. So you're not entirely like too worried about it. But kind of had a up and down career there at Clemson. A lot of that was like out of his hands. So I don't want to allude that he has character issues. He does not. Great character, by the way. Michael Pratt, quarterback out of Tulane, coming here at 142. Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice at 141. Probably ends up being more of a slot guy, but he's got the size to play on the outside. At 140, I have the guard out of Illinois. Kind of had a down year this year because they forced him into right tackle, and it didn't go well. 139, Jared Wiley, another guy I've been seeing sneak into that day 2 area And I get it, man. He's got good size, tested out real well. I just don't think he's that good as an inline blocker. But let's keep rolling. Got Jordan McGee out of Temple here at 138. Linebacker, big fan of his. 137, Christian Jones, tackle out of Texas. 136, running back, Will Shipley out of Clemson. Had a really good pro day, put on some good tape, but I worry about the drops. I worry about really the fumbles. Fumbles actually are a big issue with him. Dallin Holker coming at 135, tight end out of Colorado State. Yo, if you haven't watched Holker, just watch his highlights at this point. It feels like too late in the draft process for you to go back and watch somebody, but just watch the highlights. He's got some amazing catches. Jalix Hunt out of Houston Christian, the former safety, now edge player. He's a project, but he's a project in the right way. He's got really good traits, and you could say the same thing about the guy right ahead of him, Cedric Johnson out of Ole Miss. Someone who I think in my top 10 entering the season, thinking that he would kind of break out this year. Unfortunately, it didn't really happen that way, but still, you can't deny some of the traits. At 132, I have Hunter Norzad, center out of Penn State. Honestly, probably could potentially play at the very least both guard spots, maybe even moonlight at tackle, but I think that's kind of stretching it. But the dude's movement skills and his killer instinct are pretty nice. 131, Josh Newton, man, he's just a good corner. I think that's what, I don't think he made my top 10 corners entering the season. This was about the area I had him in. And it was just like, he just feels like a good corner, and I felt like his actual speed was kind of suspect. It was nice to get a time on that. Like 151's fine for a corner and whatnot, but I just think there's some better corners in this class. For instance, Elijah Jones out of Boston College. I love Elijah Jones, and now everybody's suddenly on the bandwagon of him. Like, I thought I was high on him by putting him as like a 4th round grade. And because I didn't really hear many people talking about him. Like, I was talking about this guy from, like, was it the Hula Bowl? No, was it the Shrine? Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember now. Let's look this up. But it was the Hula Bowl. Okay, so he had a great Hula Bowl week. And then he ends up being a late addition to the Senior Bowl. And he looked fine at the Senior Bowl. Like, I don't think he popped out too much. I mean, when he had Quinyon Mitchell just lighting it up, it was kind of hard to stand out. But I came out and was like, yeah, I would take this guy in the 4th round. Like, look at his size, tested out real well. And suddenly people are like, oh wow, you're low on him. Oh wow, he's a day 2 player. I'm like, bro, you weren't even talking about him when I was talking about him. But hey, you may love somebody. There's always someone out there that loves them more. That's just the truth when it comes to the draft. Mekhi Wingo coming here at 129. I'm just really hesitant when it comes to the size with Wingo. 128 is Dwayne Carter, defensive interior at Duke. I love the bull rush, but I don't know if he has much more than that to him. I got a couple of power backs here at 127 and 126. They got Braylon Allen and Audric Estime. And then at 125, I have Garrett Greenfield. And again, kind of feel like I'm alone here when it comes to just no one's high on this cat. I largely see people have him as like a late day 3 pick. And I'm like, I would take him early day 3. DeCamarion Richardson out of Mississippi State. Really good athlete, really good size. Played against the best of the best. That's right, it's the SEC. I'm sorry. Big Ten's close. Big Ten was keen this year, so what can I say? But I actually really like Richardson quite a bit. I'm surprised that he didn't. I don't think he went to the Senior Bowl or anything. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't test out the All-Star circuit. Brandon Dorlus out of Oregon here at 123. I just don't know what he's going to do in the NFL. Like, what will his role be? Because it's a body type. It's a body type. 122, I have Marshawn Lloyd. I'm a bit lower on him than the general consensus because drops, poor pass protection, and fumbles. Isaac Guerrero at 121. I'm willing to roll the dice on this absolute specimen. And then at 120, Leonard Taylor. Not an ideal offseason draft process, unfortunately, for him. Keep it rolling as I got Brendan Rice out of USC, wide receiver at 119. Then I have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at 118, and then Cedric Gray at 117. So 2 linebackers there going back to back. And then Tyke Smith at 116. Apparently the franchise guy thinks he's like a top 50 pick. And I mean, I love Tyke Smith. I really like him. I wouldn't surprise me if he went into like in the mid to back end of the 3rd round. Top 50 though. Because I think he's limited to really just slot only. Chris Abrams-Drain at 115. I honestly believe that there is some schemes out there that can have him work on the outside. I don't think he's just a slot guy in the NFL. Ray Davis at 114. Just a good running back. Zach Zentner at 113. Probably be higher if he was able to really partake in the offseason draft process. Unfortunately, because of that injury, he was not. Though he was able to do on the field drills at the combine. So there is that. But hey, the tape is good. Cade Stover at 112. Tight end out of Ohio State. Just a good tight end. Tyrone Tracy. Straight up. Just higher on him than the general draft consensus. That is what it is. At 110, I have Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. Probably be much higher if he wasn't already applying for Medicare. At 109, Jerrion Jones. I think he's ideally probably a slot in the NFL, but does have that outside capability. So just a guy that I could see sneaking into the 3rd round. And then Muhammad Kamara out of Colorado State. Another man who is also going to be applying for his Social Security, but doesn't have ideal length, but plays with great leverage, plays very powerful, and just I love the urgency and the violence that he plays with. Really do. Keep the sucker rolling. Got 107, Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia. Didn't test nearly as well as I was hoping, but it wasn't bad by any means. I think he's still going to be a solid center. I just think there might be a couple of better guys in that regard in this class. So here he is at 107. 106, Tavondre Sweat. Should be a top 50 prospect, but when you have a background, well, like when you were known from your freshman to sophomore year as a party animal, and you were trying to like kick that bad reputation, it's important to make a good impression. Getting a DWI weeks before the draft is not making a good impression. I still think he probably gets into the 3rd round just because nobody's that size. But there are now some legit concerns with that character. Cam Hart at 105, literally just missed my top 15 corner prospects video, but Cam Hart's really good. I just don't think I'm as high on him as like some of the other people are. I do think there's some scheme. I feel like he's a little scheme dependent in the NFL. Jatavion Sanders, another guy that was kind of a hot faller for me, just didn't test out well. You're going to worry about the play strength of the physicality he plays with. Can he hold up in line? But he is a hell of a good receiver. He's shown that on tape. He's probably going to go top 75 because there's not many tight ends that have his feel for being a pass catcher. Nehemiah Pritchett here at 103 out of Auburn. I got Kalen Bullock, 102 out of USC. Really the only true center fielder in this class, but you do worry about the frame, the play strength. Vontez Walker, just outside of my top 100 here. Like good size, 6'2", 193. You do not a big route tree, a guy that was really just a essentially screen slant vert type of route tree for him. It was actually very similar at Kent State as well. But man, Senior Bowl was abysmal. There were already kind of legit concerns when it came to his ball skills. They were much better this season, I believe, but his last year at Kent State, they weren't exactly great. I think he was hovering around that 10% drop rate. His drop rate this year was 6.8%, so it was a little bit better. But then you go to the Senior Bowl, and it's like, okay, no, your hands are a legitimate concern. Sorry, you got to be able to catch the football to play receiver. But I still think there's a really good player there. Brandon Coleman at a TCU. I think he can play tackle. I think he can play guard. I think he can give a team good versatility. Trevin Wallace, I like quite a bit, but a guy that it's not like it. He doesn't have a feel for the position yet. Like, he doesn't have the cerebral laid out. Like, he's got all the tools, but his first 2, maybe even 3 years in the league might be kind of rough with him just learning the position. Like, we're talking like Patrick Queen, first couple of years were kind of rough, and then bam, clicked, and now he's getting paid. Johnny Wilson at 98. Johnny Wilson's kind of like, I don't know, man. At first I thought he would make the transition to tight end, but it looks like he's going to stick at receiver. I get it. He can stick at receiver. I just really thought he could be a really good, like a Darren Waller level tight end. And I'm talking Darren Waller like a few years ago. But Wilson's definitely an intriguing physical specimen. At 97, I have Tanner Bortolini, a guy with good movement skills, good play strength. Showed really good grit after having a dog water day one at the Senior Bowl. And then being able to bounce back and have a really good rest of the week. Had a strong combine. So yeah, I think he ends up going somewhere on day 2. Real quick, let me give a shout out to Underdog of Fantasy. If you use promo code Broshmo when you sign up at Underdog Fantasy, they will match that first deposit up to $100 dues. Just because the football season's over doesn't mean that they're done. They got basketball, baseball, they got all kinds of sports, and I think they'll have some draft props the next Thursday. So be on the look for that. If you do sign up, use promo code Broshmo. They'll match that first deposit up to $100 dues. But please bet wisely, bet responsibly. At 96, I have Kalen Carson, corner out of Wake Forest. A guy that I feel a lot of people are kind of out on him just because of the Keon Coleman game. But like, he's got solid tape. He's not by no means a perfect prospect, but like, he's got solid tape. You worry about the ball skills. You worry about him getting a little too grabby sometimes, but he's a good prospect. Malik Washington, wide receiver out of Virginia. Man, just missed out on my top 15 wide receivers, which sucks. I absolutely love the cat. Like, the movement skills, the yak ability. He is literally like a Hot Wheels tank. I think that's his comp. Hot Wheels tank. What's my actual comp for him? Let me see. Did I have one for him? I imagine I did. Okay, it'd be right here. Albert Wilson. My comps aren't always sexy because I don't like using big name players. All right, at 94, Dominic Pooney, someone who showcased some center versatility at the Senior Bowl, but played tackle at Kansas, played guard the year before, but probably translates more as a guard in the NFL. 93, Cameron Kitchens. I still love the ball skills. I'm not willing to say Cam Kitchens ain't a day 2 prospect. Edifon Lofocho, linebacker out of Washington. Another guy that I see like consensus have him like mid to late day 3. And I don't know if that might be the injury concerns, but he tested out really well. Had a phenomenal year at Washington. I'm willing to buy in, especially with this linebacker class kind of being meh. Andrew Phillips and Jarvis Brownlee, I have them ranked pretty close to one another because I feel like they're very similar prospects. I I think that you're gonna have them in very different schemes. Like for instance, you gotta have. Let me pull it up here. There we go. So with an Andrew Phillips, you're gonna want him more off coverage because like he explodes downhill. He just explodes downhill. So I think he's gonna be more off coverage, maybe a zone heavy, and could play the slot. Like Kenny Moore was my comp for him, and then Jarvis Brownlee, I think is a press corner. You worry a little bit about the thinness, the size, but the dude's got that dog in him. At 89, I have Spencer Rattler. There's still a good arm there. There truly is. All right. At 88, I have Blake Fisher. Tools, just I think he needs a little bit more polish to his game. You got Theo Johnson here at 87. Another guy with a lot of tools. I like perfect build for a tight end. But the production at Penn State wasn't that great. He just wasn't a focal point of the passing game. And to be fair, the passing game wasn't a focal point in the game plan. But he was a big red zone target for them. I think he had like 7 touchdowns this past season. Blake Corum at 86, just good running back. Ben Sinnott, my other tight end. This is my tight end 2, by the way. Here at 85, big fan of him. I just don't love this tight end class. Like, there's good prospects here and there. Like, I think it's just better at the back end of the 3rd round to, like, the 4th round. Then I got Bo Limmer, center out of Arkansas. Tested out really well. And, honestly, once he got the feel for center, like, his second half of the year was just shut down. Jermaine Burton, wide receiver out of Alabama, coming here at 83. Would be much higher if not for the red flags with him. Some people point to, oh, he knocked that hat off that girl's head after they lost. And for one, I don't know if he knew that was a girl. He saw some fan running in front of him and out of frustration, knocked the hat off of him. That to me, that's kind of like, okay, young kid got frustrated. Kind of is what it is. I don't think he has anything against women. The bigger red flag is him butting heads, rumors of him butting heads with the Georgia coaching staff, which led to his transfer. Kind of more alarming. Cole Bishop here at 82. Nice box safety. You just want this guy coming downhill. And got Rabbit Taylor Demerson, 1 spot ahead of him. Another guy you just love coming downhill. Can I say? Austin Booker here at 80. He's got some traits, man. He's got some traits. Didn't test out as good as you thought he would. But in terms of what you saw at the Senior Bowl, like, golly, like, I think he's a developmental prospect worth developing. Could pay legitimate dividends in a year or two. Braden Fisk at 79. Sorry, guys, I'm just not as high on him as everyone else. The guy's kind of a bull in a china shop. Javon Baker at 78. It broke my heart that he did not make my stinking top 15 wide receivers because I absolutely love him. This dude is just a monster at the catch point. He's tough to bring down. He just absorbs contact. I love it. Michael Hall Jr. Suddenly I'm feeling I got him a lot lower. I got him too low. That's where I'm at. I feel like I got him too low right now at this juncture. Because he got up to 299, which is kind of like, whoa, okay. I still worry about the play strength and him potentially being a non-factor in the run game outside of just being a penetrator, but to put it on the size, man, I don't think that's necessarily the case. Probably a guy, I'll probably move him up a little bit. I probably will. He's probably going to be closer to like a Chris Jenkins. Shoot, but the pass rush upside is so much better than Chris Jenkins. Dang, dude, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to revisit that. Because like then Ruka Rohoro is kind of in the run in here because it's like Ruka Rohoro is a lot more raw of a prospect than Michael Hall Jr. Like Michael Hall Jr. in terms of pass rush, it's there. So I don't know. I'm gonna reevaluate that. I got Roger Rosengard here at 76. Solid right tackle. Could end up kicking the guard. Then I got a couple of running backs back to back here. There ain't no way. I think I mixed these. I'm going to go with Jalen Wright. I guess I am, man. I have Jalen Wright a spot ahead of Jonathan Brooks. To me, man, it's a big coin toss. Just because, like, I'm so scared that Jalen Wright, his vision just might end up being, like, piss poor. Because he saw a lot of room in that Tennessee offense. So I'm a little scared here. So here are my running back 2 and 3s here at 74 and 75. Adisa Isaac at 73, edge out of Penn State. Got Jalen McMillan at 72, wide receiver out of Washington. Tyler Newman, safety out of Michigan at 71. This was probably where I had him last year. And I honestly thought he was going to test out as a better athlete. But, well, it happened. At 69 and 70, I have a couple of guards. Christian Mahogany out of Boston College, and then Cooper Beebe. Big fans of those guys. Braylon Trice coming here at 68, edge out of Washington. Got up to 158 for the pro day after dropping all that weight, but the tape's still really good. Mason Smith at 67 out of LSU. Just that body type, man. And this was his first full year as a interior player. Like, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. Devon Bullard, safety out of Georgia, coming in at 66. Kieran Amagaji, tackle out of Yale at 65. And I have Patrick Paul just one spot ahead of him. I think those are two developmental tackles with very big tools. Very big. Mari Lasser coming in at 63 for me. I think he could be a solid corner too, but with that speed, I don't know, man. I don't know. Chris Baraswell at Alabama at 62. Then we got Troy Franklin at 61, wide receiver out of Oregon. Again, the ball skills with him were just so much worse this year. Renardo Green, corner out of Florida State. Nice press man corner here. Press corner in general. Malachi Corley, listen, the yak ability is real, and I still think, hey, use this guy as a running back sometimes. Like, pop him in the slot, pop him outside, pop him in the backfield. Get him some carries. I absolutely love Jonah Ellis. I think he could have been a first-round pick if he decided to return. Unfortunately, did he end up having a private pro day? Because I don't think he performed at Utah's pro day. Okay, didn't run the 40 or do the bench, but yeah, agility numbers, explosive numbers, out the wazoo. Yeah, this guy's a twitched up monster. Chris Jenkins here at 57. I think he's got a really high floor, but I think his ceiling's kind of low. And then I got a couple of corners here with Max Melton at 55, and then at 56, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. I just talked about those guys, so go check out my corner video. Christian Haynes at 54. He's kind of this fringe top 50 player for me. Big fan. Junior Colson, linebacker out of Michigan. I like him, and I think he's probably the safer between the top three linebackers, talking like Peyton Wilson and Aaron Cooper, but I think those guys might have a little bit bigger ceilings. Jaden Hicks, he's my top safety, and he was initially 50. I have him now officially at 52. Roman Wilson here at 51. I think he can be a really good vertical slot. I got his teammate at 50, Mike Sainristil. Another guy that's going to be a good slot player, but there's a place for that in the league. Rook Orohoro. Like, the tools on this guy are really good. Really good. You just worry about the polish. Like, all right, in real time, let's take a look. Let's take a look between like a Rook Orohoro coming in with 34-inch arms. Coming in at 6'4", 194, or 294, excuse me. Michael Hall Jr., 6'3", 299, 33.5-inch arms. 40 time, much better. They have similar 10-yard splits, though. Orohoro came in with 4 more bench reps. golly, the explosive numbers are so similar. I will say Michael Hall did not test out of the agility numbers, but Arroyo did, and they were good numbers. They were good numbers. Like, you could make an argument they were better than guys like Johnny Newton and Byron Murphy. The problem is, this is a cat that 7.8% pass rush win rate. Again, he's really, really raw. He was used all over the defensive line, though, at Clemson. Jalen Polk, receiver out of Washington, here at 48. Peyton Wilson at 47. Linebacker at NC State, does have the injury red flag. Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington, I have at 46, but again, quarterback's got an interest in value. Like, I'd be willing to take him in the first round, like the back end of the first round. Get that 5th-year option. I still think that would be a good pick. You got TJ Tampa, 45. I got Jordan Morgan, who I think he might end up being a guard. Man, do I want him ahead of Darius Robinson, though? I don't know about that. And I really like Jordan Morgan, dude. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, we're changing it on the fly, is what it is. So now at 42, Jordan Morgan. Trey Benson at 43. He is my top running back in this class. I'm a big fan. Darius Robinson at 44. Very, very versatile looking body, but someone who had his success at edge. And I think that's where it's going to have to be in the NFL. My top linebacker, Aaron Cooper, here at 40 out of Texas A&M. A lot of tools. He's long and fast. At 41, I have Zach Frazier. Guy that probably could play center or guard. Just looks like a man. When you bear crawl off the field after breaking your leg, just so your team won't spend a timeout, you're a man. All right, Kingsley Suamataia I got at 39. Could be a bit of a project because footwork, hand placement's kind of all over the place. All right, let's get to number 38. Marshawn Nealon. Absolutely love this cat out of Western Michigan. Big, powerful edge rusher. We're going to be talking about a lot of receivers here. As at 37, I have Xavier Worthy. And at 36, I have Keon Coleman. They're two receivers that you have some questions about, but they're kind of like polar opposites in terms of where they are on the spectrum. You got small and fast, and you got big and struggles to separate. So just kind of have them in the same tier. Mason McCormick at 35. I've already planted my flag and said, hey, this is my guy in this class. I think he could play center. I think he could play guard. I think he could moonlight at tackle. Chop Robinson at 34. Very twitched up player. Probably has I think he's the most explosive edge rusher in this class. Then we got another slew of wide receivers, guys. We got Ladd McConkey at 31, at 32, Ricky Pearsall, and then at 33, Xavier Leggett. They all provide somewhat a little different. Ladd McConkey and Ricky Pearsall are actually very similar in some regards. I just think Pearsall, I think, is the more dynamic athlete at the catch point, while I think McConkey is the more dynamic athlete after the catch. And then you got Xavier Leggett, who's just big and beautiful. Tyler Guyton at 30. Again, tools. The guy's long and he can move well. JC Latham at 29. I'm a little bit lower. Don't like the physicality or lack thereof of physicality he plays with, despite being 342. But he is a good pass blocker. Adonai Mitchell at 28. He is my wide receiver 5. So he's in that range for the Bills, technically, for me. I got Nate Wiggins at 27 on my current big board. He's young. I think there's a good shot he ends up being the best corner in this class, just because athletically it's all there for him. A guy that really greatly improved at Clemson, especially after kind of goofing maturity-wise his freshman year and coming back and I don't want to say necessarily being a leader, but like showing some mentor capabilities there, saying like, hey, I was in the doghouse too, but kept my head down, worked hard. Now I'm going to be a first-round pick. But yeah, dude, he's young. He's going to put more meat on the bones. Graham Barnett here at 26. I got him listed as a center, but he could play guard. He could maybe even play tackle. JJ McCarthy, I have at pick 25. I say pick 25. At 25 on my big board. I'd be willing to take him in the first round. Listen, the tools are so alluring. They truly are. He has functioned in the NFL offense last 2 years. He might need a little bit more time in the oven, but watch out. That turkey's almost ready. And he goes to the right situation. Could be a big gain for that team. Jazon Newton here at 24. I got Byron Murphy a little bit higher because I like the play strength quite a bit better. Jackson Powers Johnson, who I love, I got at 23. Again, I mean, I felt like I was one of the first people talking about Jackson Powers Johnson as a potential first rounder or even as a potential like top 75 pick. And now that we're here, man, people have that cat like inside the top 20 and he just didn't make it, man. It's a good class. It's a really good class. Kool-Aid McKinstry at 22 here. I'm another guy I'm a huge fan of. Bo Nix, 21. So just outside of my top 20. Listen, I like a lot of what Nix has done. He's not the same quarterback he was at Auburn. Matter of fact, he's not the same quarterback you saw in the season opener in 2022 where Oregon took on Georgia. He is a very, very different guy. Very accurate. Doesn't put the ball in harm's way. Got some mobility to him. I like Bo Nix. Terrion Arnold here at 20, so not too far from Kool-Aid McKinstry. I kind of had a tough time picking between those two guys. I got Talanisa Fuanga, here at 19. And then I have Marius Mims here at 18. A guy, honestly, dude, I contemplated saying, hey, just send it. Like, go full into your projection. Because, like, he's got top 10 potential. Like, the upside on him is that ridiculous. But here he is at 18, man. Here he is. Cooper DeJean, I have at 17 on my current big board. I see him as a corner, but he does have that versatility in terms of what he can do with his body. Byron Murphy, he is 16th on my big board. Had a big breakout year. Too many people try to like contribute his success because of T'Vondre Sweat. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Like, I think Byron Murphy had more snaps at nose tackle than T'Vondre Sweat. So this guy was having to defeat double teams. All right, let's just scroll. Yeah, right here. There we go. At 15, I have Dallas Turner. At 14, I have Brian Thomas Jr. So I'm kind of like shooting on projection with those two guys. I got Olu Fashanu at 13. I still think, man, there's a lot to like when it comes to Fashanu. Then I have the edge players. Jared Verse at 11, Liatu Latu at 12. Again, you have a top 3 edge in this class, and if you have these guys ordered in any other different way, I think it's fine. I'm not going to fight you on it. I think they're all good prospects. At number 10, Troy Fatanu. Listen, man, the cat can play tackle. I honestly didn't think he was going to have the length to. We already knew the movement skills were really, really good. And I think one of his bigger problems is sometimes he plays a little light in the pants, not enough sand in the pants. And that's going to play better on a tackle than it is at guard in the NFL, which means there's a lot of value when it comes to Fatanu. He is perfect for the outside zone, wide zone blocking schemes. Like 2/3 of the NFL is doing that now. So he works out well. At number 9, I have Jaden Daniels. He was kind of fringe outside my top 10, but like ultimately it was like, I was like, I'm willing to draft him in the top 10. So I probably should have him in my top 10. There's a lot to like when it comes to Jaden Daniels. So here he is. But now my blue chip prospects, Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. Absolutely love him. Had a phenomenal offseason draft process. I'm sending it. He's corner 1. Blue chip grade on him. Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. People hate on him because he's a tight end. The dude could kick in the slot. He can be a big time pass catcher for a team. Like, that's not, he has been the best tight end in college football the last 3 years. There, I said it. Got Roma Dunze here at 6. It's top 3 wide receivers are pretty darn good in this class, if I do say so myself. Joe Alt at number 5. Tackle out of Notre Dame. I think he's kind of in his own tier when it comes to this tackle class. Drake May is currently at 4 on my big board. At quarterback, I got Malik Nabers at 3, coming out of LSU, wide receiver. Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison, I think either or. Like, part of me wanted to put Caleb Williams at 1 just because it's like, you know what, if I'm picking at 1 and I need both a quarterback and wide receiver, I'm taking the quarterback, obviously. I think I'm going to do that. We're going to do it. I'm going to put Caleb Williams. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a hell of a prospect. Don't get me wrong. Like, many people will say he is the best prospect in this class. But if I'm being true about quarterback value, I think I'm taking Caleb Williams over Marvin Harrison Jr. And that's my top 200 big board. So it's a long enough video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you want to check out my actual draft guide, because fun fact, I have more than 200 guys ranked on my big board, then check out the link in the description below. It's a great way to support the channel. It's a good thing to add to your arsenal if you want to know more about the prospects in this draft class. Or you can just check out some of these videos down here. But as always, until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.